All right, welcome. So right now we're going to talk about the Chaos Demons changes, and trust me, there are a crazy amount of Chaos Demons changes, and they're all pretty exciting. Some of them are a little bit lame, but most of them are really, really cool. I'm not doing the Shadow Legion in this breakdown. That's going to be a separate video, which is the all-new detachment for Chaos Demons, but I am going to run through all of the datasheet changes because there are a ton of them. As a matter of fact, the Chaos Demons index more or less just got rewritten. And that's what we got to talk about today, because there are some really cool surprises in there and some ones that are a little bit but we're going to break it all down for you. And then in a follow-up video, we'll be doing the Shadow Legion specifically, the new index detachment, which looks freaking amazing. And there's so many combinations that are already going off the heads that are already floating around inside my skull for that one. So let's just do this thing, and we'll be right into it. So basically, we're going to start with Skarbrand. Let me just shift the screen ever so slightly. There we go. So Skarbrand, homeboy got a glow up. He actually got a lot better. So if we look at his ability here, Rage Embodied. While a friendly Khorne Legion's Demonica unit is within 6 inches, add one of the attack's characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in that unit. If we looked at the old one, it was actually excluding monsters and vehicles, which means now he actually adds attacks to himself, which is pretty dang sick. Then, in addition to that, he has a much better Flamer. Not that the Flamer is great, but 2d6 Strength 8 AP 1 is a lot better than 2d6 Strength 5 AP 0 Damage 1. Then, on top of all that, he now has Advance and Charge built into his data sheet, which seriously helps. Like, seriously helps. On top of all that, he now moves 10 inches instead of 8 inches. So he just got massive, massive glow-ups. And then with one final glow-up, he now, when he's down to 1 to 7 wounds, you just get to add 2 extra attacks to his profile. Wow. So this is just a massive amount of improvement for a datasheet that did not go up in points. Skarbrand is now brutal and he's disgusting, and we're going to see him. I especially think we're going to see him in the original index detachment with the Warp Rifts, because remember, they now deep strike 6 inches instead of 3, but you can charge after it. It's pretty freaking nasty how that detachment really works now. So yeah, Skarbrand, massive, massive glow up. Congratulations, Khorne Demon players, your Skarbrand rocks. And you did lose a little bit as well, so like it's not like it's all good, but some of it's pretty good. Then we're going to look at Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster also got a little bit of a glow up. So now his Axe of Khorne 100% got worse. There's just no doubt about it. The Axe of Khorne is just straight up worse. In addition, though, so basically you're not going to take the normal Axe of Khorne with the lash. It's just never happening. You're always going to take the Great Axe of Khorne. But now he adds +1 to hit to all Khorne demons. And now he also has a 3-up armor save, which I forgot to mention. Skarbrand also has a 3-up armor save. That really makes a big difference, because suddenly when you're a 3-up armor save and you're in cover against AP1, you're a lot better off than you would be against it if you just had a 4-pin vulnerable save. So he previously did not have the armor save, and that actually does make a big difference in his survivability. Now he's still not like tough, I would say, but dang, that really does help quite a bit with his survivability. So we're really happy with, I think, the Bloodthirster change. And the Bloodthirster really, really, really enjoys being in a variety of different detachments. Not detachments, sorry. He really likes the new Shadow Legion, and he also really, really likes the Index as well. I actually think Bloodthirsters are more or less one of the ways to go, which is pretty dang sick. So I'm happy about Bloodthirsters. I hope you are happy about Bloodthirsters, and specifically Skarbrand, because let's be real, Skarbrand is a lot better. So that's Bloodthirster. Skulltaker, as far as I can tell, he's basically exactly the same. He's still cool. He just moves faster, moves +2 inches. And I think this is something that we're going to basically just see in Khorne. All your infantry and Skarbrand, they all just get +2 inches to move, which is pretty darn useful. So Skulltaker's still cool. Bloodmaster got +2 inches to his move as well. He still adds +1 to wound to the unit that he's leading. He still does the consolidate thing. He still hits like a truck with strength 6, AP2, damage 3, and then it's of course going to be +1 to wound. So Bloodmaster, still pretty dang cool. Skullmaster, I don't think there was any changes here that I can see. He still gives them dev wounds on the horns when they charge, but that's okay. Not everything needed to change. Redmaster on Bloodthrone, as far as I can tell, is exactly the same as what he previously was. Oh, you know what? Skullmaster now is a 3-up armor save, actually. That I think that's a change, if I'm not mistaken. Renmaster is exactly the same, still has the ability to, give +1 strength, AP damage, all that stuff, which is pretty dang good. If you ask me, only against Khorne Demon stuff. Only for Khorne Demon stuff. Bloodletters. This is weird. So on the one hand, they got better because they get +2 inches of move, so they're a lot faster. But then they lost their ability to reroll wound rolls, which really hurts when you consider they have a very few attacks. They only have 2 attacks each. I think this is overall a nerf for Bloodletters, and we already weren't seeing too many Bloodletters. Their new ability, which is if you want to fall back, you have to take a desperate escape, unless you're a monster in vehicle. Honestly, anything that charges them is probably just going to kill them anyway. So I definitely think Bloodletters got kind of punched in the dick a little bit here. But with the improvement in Scarbrand, Bloodthirster's getting some armor save. I think this is a win for Khorne Demons. I think this is actually a very big win for Khorne Demons. Blood Crushers still rock, no real changes to them. They move 10. They still add +1 to charge rolls because you're going to give them the Instrument of Chaos. They still cause buku crazy mortal wounds because it's the unit that ends in engagement range. It's not every model that ends in engagement range, which is worded just differently than most of the other charge mortals in the game. So Blood Crusher's still the best charge mortals in the game. Still rocks. We love them. And with the addition of our greater demons getting better, I think we're just generally pretty freaking happy about most of this stuff. I think we only have one more unit for the Khorne, and this is going to be the Fleshhounds. Fleshhounds definitely got a little bit more interesting to me. So they got a brand new ability, but I'm pretty sure their stat line is basically exactly the same. They're still 3 attack, strength 5, AP 1. 3 attack, yep. Burning Roar, whatever, exactly the same, but their ability is cool. So now at the end of your opponent's turn, if you're not within engagement range, you can just put them back in Strike Reserves. And since they have Deep Strike, they'll come back down. So they can just uppy downy turn 1 for free. That's actually very, very freaking useful. I think it matters quite a bit, actually. So they did go up by 5 points in the data slate, but it's who cares? Because they actually got significantly more valuable just having free uppy downy. That's pretty freaking cool. So Fleshhounds got a little bit of a glow up, cool. And then the Skull Cannon. I think the Skull Cannon is basically the same. Yeah, it looks like he's the same. He might have lost an attack or something on the Skull Cannon, but nothing really that's going to change whether or not you want to take him. So Skull Cannons are what they are. So that's all the Khorne Demon changes. So as far as I can tell, Khorne Demon changes, seriously, pretty dang good. I think most Khorne players should be relatively happy. Scarbrand is dramatically improved. And when I say dramatically, I mean holy crap. I can't believe he didn't go up in points when he got that freaking much better. It's just a really, really big deal. Bloodthirster got better with the armor save and everything. Khorne, just in general, got a little bit faster, even though your Bloodletters got a little bit, crappier because they don't reroll wound rolls anymore. But overall, man, I think Khorne should be quite pleased, especially when you look at what Khorne gets in the Shadow Legion, which is the new detachment. Oh my goodness. So I think Khorne, super happy. Everyone's going to be very, very, very pleased there. Let's go on into some of the Tzeentchian things. So we have Kairos Fatebringer, Fate Weaver, move 12, T10, 6 up save, 20 wounds, leadership 6, OC 5. So the stat line doesn't change at all. So I'm just kind of comparing as we go along here for a second. So let's look at his damage profile. D6 plus 3, D6 plus 3, AP2, D3 damage. Yep, all that looks exactly the same. No problems with that. Staff of Tomorrow looks like it is the same, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Staff of Tomorrow is the same. And then his abilities. Nope, it looks like he's basically the same. All right, Kairos is cool. Then we have the Lord of Change. Let's see. He's got the same aura for +1 strength. He can still choose the same abilities. Basically the same. All right, Lord of Change, no big differences. The Changeling, basically exactly the same. Seems reasonable. Then we have the Fate Skimmer. Lethal hits. I don't really remember the Fate Skimmer too much, to be honest with you. Let me pull up his stats so I can kind of fact check myself real quick. Fate Skimmer 3-3-5-1. Yeah, no, he looks basically exactly the same there. I can't really imagine why you would actually take him, to be honest with you. I guess he's kind of a cheap little leader, but I don't think you're ever going to lead him with anything. And I just can't imagine bringing the Fate Skimmer, to be honest with you. Flexmaster, same profile. Plus subtract 1 to the hit roll. So if he's leading the unit, and he's only going to be leading your horrors and stuff. All right, seems reasonable. Blue Scribes still have their loan up. Still cool. 12 inches -1 from the wound roll, and then mortals when they move. So yeah, blue scribes, no big difference. I think we're basically seeing a pretty pretty good theme here. They were basically just happy with the way Tzeentch was, and it looks like we're not seeing much change. We might see it in a few of the other models here. Changecaster gave sustained hits 1, and previously what did Changecaster do? Oh no, wrong button. Nope. So Changecaster is basically the exact same thing. So moving on from him, Blue Horrors. So the Infiltrators. This is actually something cool that I heard some people were doing with Blue Horrors. People started bringing Blue Horrors in with their Chaos Knights to give them like the infiltrating unit that can help with screening like pressure armies, and it can really help with like doing your terraforms and stuff. I thought that was kind of a cool concept. I'm not so sure it's like the best way to do things, but I thought that was an interesting little way to do things. To be honest with you, still split into Brimstone Horrors. No big deal. As far as I can tell, there was no real change in their points. I do know that we got, it was just the Screamers and the Flamers that actually got points buffs. So, Pink Horrors, same stuff. Flamers. This unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it fell back. And they also went down by a couple points. So if we just look here, Flamers dropped down to, 10 points for 3 and 20 points for 6. That's actually a pretty big dang point change. So I think that's going to be a pretty happy change. I'm not so sure how much I'm going to be running them, but going just cheaper really helps build your Chaos Demons list. Simply because, man, with Chaos Demons, points get very tight, very, very freaking quick. Because you need the big boys, but you also need things that could do actions and stuff. I think it's just really nice that they went down in points, and it helps you just fit in the extra few units there. So I think that's all it is. All right, then we look at the Exalted Flamer. Basically does the exact same thing. Gives them assault, blah, blah, blah. Screamers also going down in points here. If we just take a look here. Yeah, so Screamers went down by 5 for 3 and 6 for, and 10 for 6. I think a 3-man unit of Screamers is actually really, really usable. I want to give a big shout out to my buddy Ryan. He plays for Team Malta in the WTC. He's built a list where he's been running these 3 Screamer units, and man, it's really valuable just having that speed and the ability to get where they need to go. And honestly, when they're hitting on 2-ups, when they're hitting on 3-ups with flat damage 2 and AP 2, they punch up into the models that you really don't want them to punch up into. Like I know a unit of Screamers just kind of went in and killed the Sanguinor, I was like, wait, what? Yeah, the Screamers just went in and killed the Sanguinor. It was kind of crazy what they can do. So I actually really like Screamers, and I think including them in your list is something that most people are probably going to want to be considering. Burning Chariots. I don't see any main differences in the Burning Chariot. It's just a chariot, honestly. I don't really think there's many reasons to run them. Maybe if you have the Lord of Change nearby to put them up to that strength 10, because that would put them at the AP 3 and damage 3 with their 3 shots. That is definitely nicer. Because going up to that damage 10, that strength 10 can be a big deal, especially when you're going against like elite infantry, whether you're talking about Terminators or whatever, because then they're going to be winning your T5s on 2s. So I can see that. I can see how that is useful when you use it in combination with some of the Lord of Changes. And then we get into Nurgle Demons, and Nurgle Demons, boy howdy, get a few freaking changes. So first off, let's just look at Rodicus. Now, Rodicus just has a built-in Feel No Pain of a 6-up. Good. He honestly needed it. He was too easy to kill, even though I know Nurgle, but he was actually a little bit too easy to kill. So that 6-up Feel No Pain is pretty darn awesome. His ranged weapon, Streams of Brackish Filth, is the same, and his Gnarl Rod, looks to me like his Gnarl Rod actually improved. Did he go up to strength 10? I think he was only strength 8 previously, right? Let me just take a quick look at this one. So I am telling you appropriately. Yep. So he went from strength 8 all the way to strength 10 on his strike profile, and he was at strength 7 on his sweep profile, now at strength 8. So that is actually a really big difference. And he is, that's a really big difference in breakpoints, actually. So he got a lot more violent in melee. Still has the 6-inch War of Shadow Chaos, no big problem. And then at the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within 24 inches invisible, and then you get to add 1 to the damage characteristic of Nurgle Demons against that unit. I believe it used to be 18 inches, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was 18. So actually 24 inches is better than 18. So he went up there. And then the Deluge of Nurgle is an aura. When an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, subtract 2 from the move and subtract 1 from the OC. This got a little bit nerfed. It was you halved the OC and you halved the movement characteristics. So this definitely is a little bit nerfed, but honestly, it functionally is going to have the same ability that it used to have. And really interestingly, when you subtract 1 from the OC characteristic of models in that unit, it doesn't say to a minimum of 0 or to a minimum of 1. So if you're got OC 1 models on there, Rodicus can just be like, now you're OC 0. So maybe it's not exactly a nerf, but that's pretty cool. So I know Rodicus did go up in points just a little bit, and he should have. So he went up by 20 points, and honestly, he was already too cheap at 230. So going up by 20 points to 250. He now has his inbuilt Field of Pain 6 up, so he doesn't have to be right next to a Greater Unclean one. He has a much better melee profile, and he's got better range. Totally valuable, totally worth it, and it's good. Like this is an appropriately costed model now, so I like that. I think that's really good. And honestly, he's probably much more valuable as an ally now. I think, yeah, as a standalone ally, just knowing that he has the built-in Field of Pain 6 up, so you don't also have to be able to bring a Greater Unclean one. I think he becomes a much more interesting as an ally to me. And then we have the Greater Unclean one. And if you guys haven't heard about this guy, people have been talking about the Greater Unclean one with since the update, because he is a little bit different. Let's just get right on into it. So, Homeboy, Plague Flail looks basically exactly the same to me, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Plague Flail is the same. Then we have Putrid Vomit is the same. And then we have his melee attacks. All of this looks basically exactly the same. The Bile Sword did go up in strength. Bile Sword is now strength 10 instead of strength 8. That's very good. And his sweep is strength 6, which it was already strength 6, so no problem with that. Doomsday Bell is the same, so we're not going to worry about that. Then we're going to look at his abilities. And previously, his ability was that he would give a 6-up Feel No Pain to all Nurgle demons that were within 6 inches of him. Now, however, this guy gets to give +1 to the toughness characteristic of models that are within 6 inches. This 100% includes him. So he is now base T13. And when he's next to Rodicus, you're base T13, which means las cannons are wounding you on 5s. This is critical. This makes a really big difference, actually, because las cannons certainly exist in the meta. And then he has Nurgle's Rock at the end of the movement phase. You select one enemy unit within 12 inches, and until the start of your next movement phase, subtract 1 from the toughness. So this is exactly the same of what it was previously. So the Greater Unclean one, basically, he traded out his 6-up Feel No Pain aura for a +1 toughness aura to Nurgle. And honestly, I think I'm freaking here for it, especially considering that Rodicus got his own inbuilt 6-up Feel No Pain. I like it. I think it's really strong, and he definitely did go up in points a little bit. If we look at the Greater Unclean one here, yeah, he went up by 20, so he's also 250, just like Rodicus. Very good. He did need to go up in points. I think this is a very good change. It's really interesting. It's cool. It's going to change the way that we might actually be bringing these guys. Talking about the Zepoxbringer. Successful unmodified hit rolls of 5-ups now score critical hits when he's leading. I think it's just Plague Bearers. But don't forget, now your Plague Bearers can be base toughness 6 when they're next to a Greater Unclean one, which is pretty damn cool. He also has one enemy unit is within 6 inches each time that unit takes a battle shock. Subtract 1 from the test. This is a very strong ability, and it's like a very, very strong ability. Actually, I always like to stack this in the Nurgle specific detachment with the thing that makes just a model die if they fail a battle shock test. It's very powerful because you just always will be doing it at -1. Then we'll have the Spoilspox Scrivener. He adds 1 to the OC of units in the unit, and he gives them sustained hits 1. I probably don't think you really ever take him, to be honest with you, but yeah, maybe you want to because you love the model, and the model is pretty badass, to be honest. Epidemius. I don't remember Epidemius even having a datasheet previously. Maybe was he just so bad that I completely ignored him existing? What was he previously? I'm just going to pull this up here. So we give a 4 invulnerable save, and then he could generate you CP. Okay, well that's why I've basically ignored him. So let's look at him now. Does still give a 4 invulnerable. Okay, so yeah, he's the same. All right, nothing. Moving on. Great Epidemius. He exists. Sloppity Biopiper. Now this is another guy that you desperately desperately want, and especially in that Nurgle detachment where you're going to be trying to use your enhancements to try to force people to lose models. Man, I was playing them with my Adeptus Custodes, and I failed a battle shock when I charged a unit of Plague Bearers with my Virtus Praetors. And since my Virtus Praetors failed the battle shock, just one 75-point model just died. Like, because of that freaking enhancement from Nurgle. So there are ways to use it, and there are ways to really confound and frustrate your opponents with it. So I like this Loppity Biopiper. I think he's pretty cool. I actually took him as a ally when I was playing Chaos Knights, so that he could proc the Doom and Darkness stuff earlier. But now that Doom and Darkness is from turn 1 with Chaos Knights, you don't need him anymore. But he was a pretty cool way to do it. Horticulus Silimux. Flat damage 3. That's cool. Oh, this model's leading units. You can target that unit with hero convention for 0. Blah blah blah. And he's exactly the same, so we don't care. Still don't take them. Plague Bearers, still freaking awesome. They give you sticky OC, and now that you have a better, greater, and clean one, these bad boys go up to T6 when they're within 6 inches of him, which is a very big difference. So that's very cool. Plague Bearers, cool. Nurglings still have Deep Strike, and they have the Infiltrators keyword. Very freaking important. Still OC 0. Their attacks are exactly the same, and they do make you -1 to hit. Each time an enemy unit, excluding Titanic units within engagement range of one or more units with, oh damn, so they no longer have an aura of -1 to hit, but now they apply the -1 to hit to everything that's not Titanic, including your monsters and your vehicles. I would say this is maybe a bit of a side grade, but they 100% have absolute value here. Because previously you could just charge with monsters, dreadnoughts, vehicles, whatever, and you would say, cool, I completely ignore your -1 to hit. But now it doesn't work anymore. So that's a little bit of an interesting side grade for the Nurglings. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, Nurglings get a little bit cheaper, which is crazy because they were already dirt freaking cheap. So if you want to be bringing in Rodicus or the Greater Clean One as an ally now, pretty damn easy. You just take Nurglings because they are freaking battle line, and that is kind of wild. But yeah, Nurglings are cool. Then we have Beast of Nurgles. Same abilities. Looks exactly the same. Scout 6, I think they already had that. Did they already have Scout 6? I don't really remember. I don't think it matters. Moving on. Plague Drones. Plague Drones are... Actually, I took Plague Drones in my Demons list, and I really enjoyed them. Just being able to get Rodicus and the Greater Unclean Ones to be re-rolling wound rolls, and it dramatically increases their damage output, especially now that they're going up to damage or strength 10 base. That really does make a big difference in how much damage they can put out into their opponents. So I actually like Plague Drones. I know not everyone does, but I do. And Greater Clean One, now they go to that T9 instead of T8, which also is a fairly decent breakpoint for a lot of guns. Feculent Normal does not matter. And then lastly, we get into... All right, so let me recap on Nurgle. I think Nurgle was overall is just better. Their data sheets got better. Their detachment, which was already really good, you're just not seeing people run it because it's complicated. It does take... You really have to understand the Nurgle detachment to be able to make it work. Their data sheets got better. Rodicus got significantly better. The Greater Unclean One got better. Yeah, I would say the Greater Unclean One got better. Even though they went up in points, your Nurglings went down in points. There were a few shufflings around. I think everything is totally fine for Nurgle, and they should generally be happy with the changes. Slaanesh Demon players, however... Yeah, so Slaanesh Demon players, y'all, basically, the way I look at the game is I hate it when people just complain about it, and I know I've been guilty of complaining about the game and changes previously, and I'm going to make a real effort to stop doing that, because honestly, GW's been doing just a really good job. Slaanesh Demon players might have something to complain about. So, their Detachment Legion of Excess kind of got nuked from orbit. But if it was just the detachment changes, I think Slaanesh is totally fine. But it wasn't. Instead, they changed all the data sheets as well to basically be the same data sheets as what we had in the Emperor's Children Codex, which honestly sucks. So, Salaxi Hellbrain, she just got worse. She lost her ability to reroll hit, wound, and damage rolls into all vehicles, monsters, characters, and now it's just you have to select one unit at the start of a game, and after that unit is killed, she can select another one. She lost the Feel No Pain. She lost... I think she has the same amount of attacks, but she lost the... Yeah, so that's significant. She gets to keep reroll, advance, and charge rolls, and she did go down in points, like, really dramatically, to the point where you actually can take her now. But at 380, no Feel No Pain, she lost the rerolls everywhere. Dude, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling her at all. I think this is a big loss. She'll actually, pour one out for your homie. Keeper Secrets also took a big hit. Got a lot freaking worse. They lost the 5 of Feel No Pain. Instead, the Shining Aegis, instead of giving him 5 Field of Pain, gives him an armor save of 3 up. That is so much worse. It's not even funny. It is such a dramatic difference in her ability to play the game. Previously, I would take the Keeper Secrets because, hey, the Keeper Secrets, honestly, was tougher than Greater and Clean ones most of the time because she had the 5 Field of Pain. And since she was always -1 to be hit as well. Dude, I think maybe you can still take one keeper, especially if you're running index demons where you can give them the enhancement that allows them to heal after they kill models. What's it called? The Soul Sealer? Yeah, so every model they kill on a 4-up, they heal a wound. So I think you can still take one, but you're never taking more than one. And they just got so much worse by losing that Field of Pain. That sucks. Infernal and Rapturous gets to regenerate your freaking Daemonettes. No one cares. Mask of Slaanesh. Mask went up in points by a little bit, I believe. Let me just check. Yep, Mask went up by 10 points, which is probably reasonable. Mask was just super darn good. Has the same abilities, though. Same abilities, they're still awesome. You still want, if you're playing Slaanesh, you're still going to take her because she can give +1 to wound and -1 to wound. Shalesk. Let's see. Shalesk. Looks exactly the same. And Shalesk still rocks. So no issues there. So if you liked Shalesk previously, Shalesk is still freaking awesome. And she's very valuable at 120, I think. The ability just to stand up with this amount of invulnerable save, wounds, toughness, and damage. Man, I like to drop Shalesk in my opponent's backline in turn 3, and just my opponent has to accept that Shalesk doesn't die, because once they kill her, she just comes back to life. He, whatever, just comes back to life, and they wreak havoc. So I think Shalesk is an awesome choice. I think Celeste is still an awesome choice. Contorted Epitome looks like it's exactly the same. Still has the 4 Field of Pain against mortals, so you would still want to run this with the Daemonettes if you're trying to pull off the Thieves of Pain, even though Thieves of Pain got nerfed. If you wanted to do it, you still need to run the Contorted Epitome. Trance Weaver. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. The target that attacks within range of an objective marker, you can reroll the hit roll instead. All right, so the Trance Weaver is interesting. So basically, the Daemonettes got a lot worse because they lost their ability to reroll hit rolls, but they baked it into the Trance Weaver. So what they want you to do is take the Trance Weaver with the Daemonettes, which that I can kind of understand, and I can honestly kind of get behind. So it's not that the reroll hits is just defunct, but Daemonettes definitely are much worse than they previously were. So they want you to have the Trance Weaver with them to give them their hit rerolls, and then on top of that, when you're going into anything that is battle shocked, the Slaanesh demons get to reroll hit and wound rolls, which do make Daemonettes complete blenders, seeing as they can just fish for those death wounds. So Trance Weaver with Daemonettes is definitely still a real option, even though Daemonettes without Trance Weaver got a lot worse. So now that Daemonette's new ability, which it previously used to be reroll hit rolls 1 and full hit rerolls when you're on an objective, now the new ability is at the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within engagement range of 1 or more units from your army with this ability must take a battle shock test. Subtracting 1 from the result of that enemy unit is below half strength. Honestly, I do like battle shock tests, especially when they get to stack with certain things. It doesn't stack with Trance Weaver because Trance Weaver has to do it in the movement phase. But you have other abilities, like if you're playing Index Detachment, you can give wound rerolls and +1 AP, right? And so you can give +1 AP, and if the unit is battle shocked, they get wound rerolls. So you can stack this ability with certain stratagems that can 100% come in handy. So it's not a useless ability. It's a little bit of a downgrade for the Daemonettes, but wound rerolls on girls that have devastating wounds is just always disgusting. So I think there is still a lot of value here. So Daemonettes definitely still have play. I think they're not quite as valuable as they previously were. Like previously, I was running 3 to 4 units of them. Maybe I'm looking at 1 and 2 now. Fiends took a hit, so they're defensive and offensive profile is the same. I believe they went up in points. Yep, Fiends went up by 5 for 3, 10 for 6, which is totally reasonable. Fiends were obnoxious. But now, unfortunately, they took the points nerf and they took a hit were nerf. So previously, they had the -1 to be hit, which was basically their ability when you were within melee of them. Now it's Desperate Escape Test when you fall back, excluding monsters and vehicles, which honestly just is not that good an ability. Like there's times where it can come in handy, but it's really just not that good. Seekers, they still have Scouts 9. They still get to reroll advance and charge rolls. Seekers look fine, and I don't think they went up in points. So Seekers, nope, Seekers are good. Yep. So they're still awesome. They still rock. They're still cheap. They're still crazy fast. They still move block like it's no one's business. Seekers, there you go. And then lastly, we got Big Daddy Be'lakor. Big Daddy Be'lakor got a big increase in his profile. So he went up, I think it was in toughness. He went up in, I got to pull it up so I can tell you all the changes. Be'lakor, he went up by toughness by 1, which is huge. He got a 3-up armor save, which is really nice. He got 2 extra wounds, which is nice. And then when I look at his shooting, I think his shooting is all the same. Yeah, shooting is all the same. And then his melee weapons, he got an extra attack with his Blade of Shadows. And the Blade of Shadows is now dev wounds, and the sweeping is now sustained hits. So he got a big glow up in his melee profile. He got an extra point of toughness, he got armor, and he got 2 wounds. So he got a lot better there. And his auras, which are all basically the same, now they also apply to Shadow Legion, which is really, really important when we start talking about the Shadow Legion attachment, which we will do tomorrow. That one will be very in-depth. I'm going to give you combinations. I'm going to give you army lists to get started with, and it's really nice. So Be'lakor got a big buff on his stat line. He also took a huge points nerfs. I don't know if he's worth 50 points more now. Maybe he is, though. Maybe he is. He definitely is better. So it's going to be interesting to see how you run him. You're definitely taking the Shadow Legion, I think, but I'm not sure you're going to take him outside of that. But it's nice that he's a little bit of a beat stick now, where previously he wasn't. And then your Soul Grinders are basically exactly the same, if I'm not mistaken. So, a Demon Prince of Chaos. Yeah, we didn't talk about Demon Princess of Chaos. Still gives stealth, 3-up invulnerable save. That's nice. So that's no different. And the Demon Prince with wings looks exactly the same. All right, guys, so that's it. So that's all the Demon Datasheet changes. Like I said, we'll talk about Shadow Legion, and we'll talk specifically about how to build that army. And I'm going to have demo army list for you. I'm going to go through all the combinations. Shadow Legion is pretty sick, but we'll do that in a future video. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you needed to know all the updated data sheets, this is it. Khorne is relatively happy. Tzeentch is basically the same, but they got a few points buffs, which is cool. Nurgle should be very happy, I think. And then Slaanesh took an L, but it's not the craziest L. It's just an L. So with that, guys, I'm going to take off. I appreciate you. Happy carving. Bye-bye.